Welcome to channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Cao Yang, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once you have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Alright, today's video and this weekend, let's talk politics. Well, it's not a pleasant topic, isn't it? Because politics and politicians are always pretty hateful. It's not the right, well, always, you know, when we're talking about politics on the media, it's usually the bad and the negative news. And yes, it's not something that's really positive in compared to a new policy or new visa category has been announced and things like that. You know, that excites everybody. Well, it's at the end of the year anyway. We are expecting new policies. Yes, we are. But we also look forward for the new 2025. And the largest news and the biggest news, should I say, internationally, apart from the war going on in Europe, obviously is the president-elect Trump, Mr. Donald Trump, will be at the White House by the 20th of January 2025, and that certainly will bring earthquakes all around the world on geopolitical issues, and that will definitely affect Australia. So this video will talk politics. We would like to talk a little bit how these geopolitics will actually affect Australia, and why are the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has his recent, and the politician in Australia, their recent conducts has been seen a little bit awkward. It just doesn't align where they what and where they generally do or does. So we'll have a little bit of explanations, and obviously from the politics, then we'll be able to see or foresee how the immigration policy will then be formed in the coming years. All right, so first thing I would like to mention that let's have a look at this. It's very important because we're looking at, you can find this in Wikipedia, the largest trading partners of Australia. Well, why is this important? Because this will definitely make differences on decision making of all the Australian politicians, and that's why the Australian politician, including the Prime Minister himself, has been, and also the Foreign Minister and all the politicians, they have been acting quite awkward or not as aligned to what they're supposed to be doing from their past historical acts. But anyway, let's have a look. So we see the top 10 largest trading partners. So the first one is China. Now that's probably why Albanese has been talking to President Xi Jinping for many occasions during his visit on the APEC 2024, and also the, I think, G20 as well. Apart from really, having a good and deeper chat with the United States President Biden, and that's where the worry is. The number one. The number two is Japan, European Union, United States, so on and so forth. These are all, I don't think there will be much of change, despite there has been a lot of diplomatic movement between Australia and India. Now, obviously, this information is back in 2022, but the trading between Australia and India is not as important compared to the East Asian country and also across the Pacific. Well, people may ask why, because I think, if you look at the geography, India will have, generally the largest exports of Australia are all the minerals, right? So you may argue that India doesn't really rely so much of mineral from Australia. Yes, because you might get a lot of minerals from Central Asia rather than and also Africa as well. Probably much cheaper than getting it from Australia. But getting those minerals from Central Asia and Africa to the east and also along the Pacific side of Asia will be more expensive. That's probably the reason that the India is not as a larger trading partner compared to most of the Eastern Asian countries there. So now this is very important. And secondly, also we know that the President-elect Trump will impose, and this is everybody know around the world now. It's world news for going around for weeks and months. It will impose more tariffs, especially on top of China. Now, how would that affect? How would that? I think it will have definitely indirect effect for the China and Australia trades. Now, if the tariff has putting more upon China, now the goal here is obviously having the trade situation and also the economic situation in China going worse and worse, which China's recent economy hasn't really been bouncing back since pandemic, and in fact it's actually dropping. More and more foreign investors are leaving China as well, so obviously the economy will shrink. If it shrinks, then the export or the import requirement from Australia, because most of the imports goods from Australia to China is all the minerals, well, obviously drops. Now, if China is the largest trading partner with Australia, if they drops, well, that will definitely affect the economy in Australia. Now, can Australia rely solely on Japan, European Union, and the States, and Korea, and Singapore, and Taiwan, and all the other ones? If we look at the percentage point of view, it will be quite hard, because look at this. Because China is about almost 30%, 27.6% of the entire export requirement from Australia. So it would now obviously this won't go half. Well, if it go half, it will be really, really bad. But any of this drops will actually affect a lot. Now, how will that really affect immigration policy? So we have actually seen, and this, well, first of all, this is why Anthony Albanese has been proactively trying to catch President Xi Jinping to talk during G20 and also the APEC summit at Peru, because he wanted to find a balance. Now, the problem here is, why is Australia more afraid of the tariffs gonna impose from USA upon China? And also there's possible tariffs. This is just came out yesterday. Tariffs may be hit back by the US to PM, because the social media ban that will probably trigger something, because Elon Musk definitely isn't happy. He also came out and speak a little bit, and the treasurer has actually responded back, obviously not positively. This is all going negative directions. So there will be tariffs going on, and obviously Australia should really be worried than a lot of other Asian countries. Why do I say that? Now, Australia has missed out the opportunity for the past few years to actually connect it to the high-tech industry. Well, you may blame this upon the Labour government, because they have been there for almost 3 years, and plus the former Liberal has actually gone through the pandemic. But they had the vision to they invented the global talent visa in ways to actually connect Australia into the high tech industry. However, there has not been much done since then, so they have missed that opportunity window. Now. And this is why Australia should be more worried upon its economy, because without the tech sector, now if we're looking at for example, India and all the Asian countries, they are somehow tech connected. If they're tech connected, they wouldn't be too much worried about the tariffs because they will still have tech goods or services to be exchanged or to be traded and to be interrelated with Europe and USA. Now, as we know, if you know Australia for long enough, probably 4 decades, there has been very, very minimal tech industry being developed, and there's recently been talking about the space, rockets. Yes, there has been approval on the Gilmore space tech, but I haven't seen any rockets going up from Australia yet. Yes, there has been agreement between US and Australia on certain tech exchanges, but we haven't really seen an industrial-like development nationally in Australia. And that's the worry. And that is why the trades that we have seen today, the top exports are still, if you look at the top 10, or even probably if we go to top 25, it's all commodity. Mostly few agriculture, but mostly mineral. There's only professional services. I think that will connected to related more towards financial services. I don't know about the charges of intellectual property, but an education that relates to international education, that's the 4th largest. So if we look at the top 4, the top 3 is all mineral related or energy related, or the top 10 perhaps. That's the worry. That is the real worry. Now, if we look at the education sector, that's international education, and that's why the opposition party, a Liberal National Party, has suddenly came out at the last minute to oppose the cap on international students, because they foresee how the Trump's tariff will indirectly affect the economy of Australia, and in which most of the export, that's where the earning is, the profit is, are rely on minerals, and most of minerals going to where? To China. And if the China economy shrinks, then obviously Australia economy will be in a worry situation, because the most of the exports and services and goods that Australia earn is not really tech related, I should say, in that way. And if you've been in Australia long enough, you will admit that as well. Most of the tech stuff, I think 99%, probably all coming from overseas. So without it, if they only rely on all the commodity and mostly in minerals, that is where the worry. Now, finally, if the economy isn't going well, and you already seen the sign that the government has stopped the cap on international student, that is where immigration policy will kick in, because that is another key to actually revive the economy of Australia. And they did that back in 2008. So I believe next year, 2025, well, the economy will be shake-ups, but the immigration policy will definitely kick in, that including getting more of the trades into the construction industry areas, getting more professional into hospitality and the tourism areas, and plus a lot more. I think the government of Australia will really require to wake up, understanding that yes, mineral is good, but they really need to move into a tech industry, because without it, a nation is very vulnerable on this point of view. Anyways, if you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.